Hello everyone, we are Group 1 from the University of North Carolina at Charlotte. This is a presentation we are doing for the Animal Physiology class taught by Dr. Ferdous. The group consists of me, Chris Zahn, Megan Lamke, Katie Cotto, and Danielle Beamer. In this presentation, we will cover the brucellosis disease along with its symptoms, the diagnosis of this particular disease, the causes and treatment for brucellosis, the way this disease is transmitted from animal to animal, prevention and control, and why this disease is significant for us to learn. As you can see on the screen, each section will be explained by the person whose name is on the right side of each section. So without further ado, let's get into it.
Brucellosis was discovered in Malta in the 1850s, and it is one of the most common widespread zoonotic diseases. It primarily affects cattle, dogs, goats, and sheep, but it can also affect humans. It is most commonly spread from animals to humans through the ingestion of unpasteurized milk or the consumption of undercooked meat. Infection may also occur from the aerosolization of fluids, splashing of mucous membranes, and contamination of skin abrasions. The bacterium shed within the animal's urine, milk, placental fluid, and other bodily fluids. In infected humans, flu-like symptoms often occur, such as fever, myalgia, and headaches. In long-term infection cases, arthritis is commonly seen. In animals, the bacteria targets the reproductive organ of the host animal, leading to abortions and sterility. Brucellosis is a bacterial infectious disease caused by various gram-negative bacteria within the Brucella genus, which are small aerobic intracellular coccobacilli. The species of the bacteria determines its principal host, with Brucella melentensis being the most prevalent worldwide. Humans are most commonly infected with this type. Infected females may become infertile or have great difficulty becoming pregnant. Abortion within the last trimester of pregnancy is a predominant sign. Reduced milk yield is also commonly seen, and the inflammation of the uterine lining and persistent vaginal discharge may also present. Males develop epididymitis, infecting part of the testicles. Scrotum may appear enlarged or inflamed with or without skin rashing. Testicles may atrophy, and infertility is common. Abscesses and inflammation may also be seen throughout the body. Calves may be infected at an early age but show no symptoms until they mature.
When signs and symptoms of brucellosis are observed, laboratory tests are needed to determine if an animal has the Brucella bacteria. PCR tests are used to detect the Brucella bacteria from bodily fluids of the animal. Serology tests and blood cultures are also used to look for any presence of antibodies against the Brucella bacteria. And then in North Carolina, the cost for a Brucella culture is between $12 to $17.
Transmission of brucellosis occurs rapidly from infected animals to uninfected members of the herd through the consumption of contaminated water or feed. Healthy animals may lick the genitals of infected cattle, thus resulting in transmission of the bacteria. Transmission may also occur through mucous membranes such as that which cover the eyes or wounds, and even through contact with intact skin. Samples may be taken from blood, bone marrow, or bodily fluids to determine the presence of Brucella bacteria. There is no practical treatment available for brucellosis infection at the moment on a large scale. However, infections can be managed through antibiotics. The duration of recovery can range anywhere from a few weeks to several months.
Because brucellosis is highly infectious with no real treatment options, the best solution to protect livestock and the human population is prevention. In 1934, the United States federal and state governments instituted the Brucellosis Eradication Program in an effort to control the spread of brucellosis and eradicate the disease. At the beginning of the program, there was a documented 124,000 infected herds. However, it's estimated that this is roughly half the true number, as disease surveillance was still a new practice at the time. The program really started seeing success in the 1970s when experts pinpointed a few essential protocols that were key to successful prevention of the transmission of brucellosis. One of these protocols is surveillance, which required testing regularly. One of those types of testing was market testing, Brucellosis testing is performed at livestock markets, slaughterhouses, and livestock buying stations. This was very effective because cattle were tested at the first point of contact after leaving the farm. In the United States, cows and bulls 2 years and older are required to be tested before slaughter. The other type of testing is milk ring testing. This is the regular testing of milk from dairy herds. This is required twice a year in states declared free of brucellosis and 4 times a year in states that have not yet reached that status. This is effective because it's sensitive and inexpensive and has been vital in reducing human exposure to contaminated dairy products. Another important aspect of surveillance is animal identification through a uniform nationwide system. Orange-colored ear tags are applied when calves are first vaccinated, and silver ear tags are applied when animals are blood tested. In conjunction with surveillance, there is the Brucellosis Emergency Action Plan that emphasizes depopulation and contact tracing of infected herds. This helped to further reduce the number of infected herds in the 1990s. The last necessary component of the program is vaccination. The original brucellosis vaccine, strain 19, caused misdiagnosis and abortions in high numbers, and so it was only administered to calves, but not vaccinating adults required more frequent testing in adult herds, and this was not feasible or adequate for preventing the spread of the disease. This was resolved with the development of the currently used vaccine, strain RB51. This allows for vaccination of the whole herd, which is critical in reducing shedding of the virus during calving and increasing herd resistance. Brucellosis is still of concern in Asian and African countries, but is now considered rare in the United States since it officially reached its 0 cases of the disease in 2001. The surveillance of the disease is still important, though, to identify infection that may have been imported into the U.S., so that the U.S. can maintain its classification as being brucellosis-free, which allows for export and international trade, and because wildlife are still a threat of infection to cattle. Bison and elk in the greater Yellowstone area are the last known reservoir of Brucella abortus in the United States, and testing of the efficacy of the current vaccines in those species is still undergoing study at this time.
Millions of dollars have been spent to develop, eradicating programs. However, in poor countries, this is a challenge because they find it very, very hard to prevent and control the disease as they don't have the funds, the money to implement these programs in their countries. So why is this disease important? Like Danielle mentioned earlier, to allow export and international trade, and also because wildlife are still a threat of infection to cattle. But why is it really, really important? Brucellosis is an important disease for public health. The disease has both economic and health consequences. First, it is a zoonotic and contagious disease, which means that humans, us, you and me, can get the disease. Milk is considered a staple food in many parts of the world, right? From cheese to creams to liquid drinking milk, many people rely on dairy for food. Brucellosis can cause milk production to decrease significantly due to infected cattle being aborted or unable to produce milk, which means dairy companies cannot make money as products are being lost, which also means consumers won't have access to dairy products as well. Food security is a very, very important factor, especially in developing countries. And this concludes our presentation on the disease of brucellosis. We hope that you learned a lot. We hope that you enjoyed it. Thank you for taking the time out of your day to watch and listen to our presentation. Thank you very much. See you next time.